So yes, I'm going to focus on the life cycle assessment for the eco-design of the MAXIMA electrical machine. So in MAXIMA, we are developing a new design for an electrical machine, and also the methodology to manufacturing it and the end of life. If you can, and one. So here I'm focusing in MAXIMA on the life cycle assessment. So for this new design, the idea is to also include the environmental performances of the electrical machine, and to ensure and to try to have also the best environmental performance that we can reach for the different designs that will be proposed. So how it works, so we are with the life cycle assessment, we are considering the emissions from the raw material extraction to the end of life management, with also the disassembly and recycling of the electrical machine. In MAXIMA, there are also process to recycle the permanent magnet. So the idea with LCA is to have an overview of the whole life cycle assessment performance to avoid the shifting of potential environmental burden. It could mean, for example, using less of a certain materials for environmental reason, but that might end up in having less efficiency, for example, which could lead also to less to more environmental impacts. In MAXIMA, we are focusing on two impact assessments, so climate change and the depletion of mineral resources, regarding especially the use of minerals, especially the use of critical materials. Next slide, please. So the MAXIMA project is at a very early stage right now. So the machine will be compared to a reference machine. So we were able to first carry out the LCA for these reference machines, to have a first insight of what kind of results we can expect from the new design. So if we look at climate change, we use the European electricity mix, and what we can see is that the use phase of the life cycle is the most impactful, which means that we need to be careful on the efficiency of the electrical machine, and it's an important part to consider. And when we are considering the production phase, there are mostly the production of electrical steel and aluminum that are the main contributors. Finally, when we look at the end of life, and the recycling of the materials will show benefit to lower the production, the production of impact. Now, regarding mineral resource depletion, so here the dominant contributor comes from the motor production, and especially the copper production, which is the main source of burden, which also means that it's something to be careful when we will design when we are designing the MAXIMA electrical machine. And of course, by putting effort in recycling specific materials, and copper will be beneficial to avoid the production of new virgin materials. If you can have the next slide, please. So just as a conclusion for this, so now with these first preliminary results, they were used as criteria for the new different designs that were proposed. Especially there are different architecture first that were proposed, to which we had to choose. So there were, of course, different criteria on the also feasibility of manufacture, etc. Different, and the environmental impacts were considered, considering these first insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the great presentation. So for me, it is always fascinating, the capability to understand the impact along the full supply chain and the value creation chain, and having the capability to adapt the design of the solutions accordingly. How it is challenging to gather the information and to optimize the design in your project.
So the first challenge, I would say more practically in terms of collection, is to be sure to have an harmonized collection of all the data that are coming from different phases of the project, because there are different work packages that are working on different things, from the design, but also the manufacturing and end of life. So the idea is to be sure to have a harmonized data collection, that we receive the data in the format that we need also. So we need a strong collaboration with the partners really at the beginning, to ensure that we can process with results. And then once this is done, of course, the challenge will be also in terms more of LCA. I won't go into details on that, but there are also methodological points in LCA and not necessarily consensus on certain points for mineral resource depletion, for example. So this is something that we're discussing now, that we have been discussed also with the industrial partners, etc., to make them also involved in this kind of process, and that are challenging, and that will need some, of course, choices in the end and argument.